The other night I couldn't sleep, and I tossed and turned, and about 2 o'clock in the morning I thought, oh, maybe I should just get up. But my husband rolled over next to me, and I snuggled in, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll go to sleep. I did go to sleep. I woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning, but after 4 hours of sleep I felt pretty drugged. Do you ever have a night like that? And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't sleep. But then it dawned on me. We'd been watching a fascinating drama that had a great character studies, great characters in it, and the antagonist was so believable and really a greatly written antagonist, and so was the protagonist. But right at the end of the drama series that we were watching, the protagonist said a line that broke my heart. And the line was, I had no choice. Well, what broke my heart was that's victim language. You see, there was a setup to this story, and I don't have time to go into the whole thing, but he was facing his wife after he had committed adultery. And his language to her was, I had no choice. Well, his wife knew that that wasn't true, and she hauled off and clocked him really hard with her fist and actually laid him out on the ground, which was kind of funny at the moment. But what broke my heart about this was, hey, Jeannie, thanks for joining us. What broke my heart was that we all fall into this victim language. You know, in the Bible, there's a story of another protagonist who's placed in a very compromising situation. And his situation is different than the protagonist in this drama series that I was watching. But he ends up being a slave in a very rich man's home. And while he's in this home, he's a hard worker. He's a young man. He's really handsome. He's a head turner. And the person who buys him as the slave decides that he can really trust him. And he can trust Joe because Joe has proven himself to be reliable and capable. And so he places him in as the head of the household, right underneath his master. Well, kind of think of it like Mr. Carson in Downton Abbey. Well, not too long, it doesn't take very long, but the master's wife has a wandering eye, and she happens to notice Joe. He's young, remember, he's handsome, he's probably well built, he's used to strong work, and she decides she's going to try and seduce him. And so she just comes right out and says, hey, have sex with me. And Joe goes, no, that would be wrong. And he distances himself from the wife. Well, wifey doesn't like that, so she continues to seduce him and to pursue him. Joe continues to refuse until one day she makes it easy. She gets everybody else out of the house, so it's just Joe and wifey. Well, wifey grabs him and tries to force him to have sex with her. Joe runs. He just gets up and runs, and in the process of running, he leaves a few articles of clothing behind. Well, wifey hangs on to those clothings, and now she's embarrassed because here this slave, who's the head of the household, has made a fool of her. And so she climbs and she starts screaming rape. Well, that story is from Genesis 39. Told a little bit differently, but you can read the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Joseph ran when he got himself into this compromising situation. It wasn't of his own doing, but he was still in a compromising situation. Not so the protagonist in this drama series that Dave and I have been watching. You know, he had many opportunities to run, and he didn't take one of them. Instead, he did not listen. And that's the slippery slope to infidelity that we can all find ourselves in. Often it starts with just a little bit of innocent flirting. And those pique our interest. And then we get into more unplanned meetings where, oh, we didn't know that, but then we start having conversations that we should have with that other person. Eventually, it's going to lead us to a place where we break our vows and we have infidelity. And that's what breaks my heart. If you find yourself battling temptation with a temptation such as this, please reach out. I do understand the deep wounds and the work that it takes to get healthy and happier. It's possible, and you can make the right choice. No matter where you are on that slippery slope, you can choose to run. You can make the choice that Joe made. From one overcomer to another, it's time to make those difficult choices, to define your healthy boundaries and seize God's best for your life. Let's explore some practical steps together to mature beyond that pain for a better life for you and your loved ones. A few weeks of coaching can change how you feel and react when you're faced with tempting choices. You'll see. Let's talk.